What's going on, Jerome's? Less than 1 week from now, thank God, the Minnesota Vikings will likely know who their future franchise quarterback is going to be. Will it be Drake May or Jane Daniels or J.J. McCarthy, maybe Michael Penix Jr.? And the Vikings, if they would like, do have the ammunition to trade up into the stratosphere. One is probably spoken for, but 2, 3, 4, get your woman on the floor, as well as 5, maybe even 6 with the Giants could be open for business, and the Vikings do have 11-23, also the future first rounder and all that stuff. So the Vikings, and the whole thing about it is that, Kwesi and the Vikings being rumored to want to trade all the way up for Anthony Richardson last year from 23. They have a lot more ammunition than last season, and I feel like the only thing missing from the team right now, besides a penetrating 3-tech as well as a true nose tackle, as well as some interior offensive line, as well as a shutdown cornerback, other than that, and also maybe a reliable slot receiver. Anyways, the only thing, and also a power running, and a reliable punter. Ryan Wright, come on, man. But the only thing missing is a bona fide quarterback of the future to be groomed and put into place for the future of the Vikings. That's the only thing that's missing right now, and the Vikings reportedly want to get up into the top 6 before the draft. Now, I think it's more likely that it would be a during the draft situation, absent them getting up to 2, which I don't think is going to happen, or possibly 3, which who knows. I don't think that you trade up before the draft. I think you wait and see how the board breaks down, because you might be able to get a better price, and also you'll be able to know who is going to fall, and if it's your guy, and if the juice is indeed worth the squeeze, right? So Kwesi going to be working the phones either way. He's doing his job. You want him on that wall. You need him on that wall. And basically all the general managers of the top 6 teams took the podium on Thursday, and we just wanted to go through a little gauntlet of all of the GMs lying and talking tough. And that's what it is this time of year. Well, first off, one at the Bears. I mean, we're still waiting. Still waiting. I mean, it's time to take back the North and never give it back. We're waiting. So Bears at 1, Commies at 2. So new GM Adam Peters, who Rick Spielman helped select, by the way. So new ownership, new GM, new head coach, new everything. Rap sheet. Commies GM Adam Peters talking to reports today. We feel great about staying at number 2. Don't see a lot of scenarios where we trade down, and I think that's where they're currently at. And they said that, they're solidifying their pick. I think 99.9999% chance it's going to be a quarterback, and I do think it's going to be Jaden Daniels. I think what's going to happen, it's a conspiracy theory time. I think that the Patriots and the Commies are both in on Jaden Daniels. I think the Commies will take Jaden Daniels, and I think that the Patriots, Drake May, J.J. McCarthy, and then the Patriots will pull out that deal that they have in their back pocket with the Vikings and trade 3 for 11-23, a future first rounder, maybe some change, and then the Vikings come up for Drake May. I think this is where we're currently at. But 2 at the Commies, I mean, I thought it was a long shot anyway, because even though it's a deep quarterback class and the Commies do have a lot of needs, I mean, they still do have 2 second-round picks, and getting their quarterback of the future, ain't nothing wrong with that. So new regime, new day, new dawn. Commies probably not trading up. But 3, of course, Elliot Wolf talking yesterday, we're open for business, and also Gerard Mayo making the rounds saying that they'd have to get the bag and blah, 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 blah. But the Patriots got a lot of needs. Patriots certainly do have a lot of needs, and I think that is the sweet spot. I think that is the honey hole if the Vikings do want to trade up, because they would have their choice of 2 of the big 4 quarterbacks, and also I think that that's a spot where if they did want to trade up before the draft, I think that would be the spot to do it. And like we said, the Vikings 11-23 future first. That would be a lot easier if it's 8-23, or maybe even 8-11. Not saying, I'm just saying. But we have a week, and the Falcons were habitual line steppers, and they got to be punished. I mean, I'm good either way, because number 1, if the Falcons aren't punished, then teams need to tamper with every single free agent, because there are no rules. 2, the Vikings could benefit. Maybe they get some draft picks sweetening up. Or C, the Falcons could get dinged either way, and the Vikings don't get draft compensation. I'm good either way, because it hurts the Falcons, and the Vikings play the Falcons this year. That's all. That's all, man. But the next, so Monty Ossenfort, the pride of University of Minnesota Morris. So he said earlier in the offseason that number 4 open for business, green light, right? So he fully understands that. But also, the thing about it is, if the Cardinals do drop from 4 to 11, that probably takes them out of the top 3 receivers range. Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors, Rome Odunze. Now, you certainly see the upside of it because it's a deep wide receiver class, and they certainly could potentially get a guy like Brian Thomas Jr. or Lat McConkey or Ricky Pearsall or whoever later on in the first. And the Cardinals could potentially have 3 first-round picks this year and an extra first next year. Right, so 11, 23, and 27, blah, blah, blah. But Austin Ford, you always want more picks, but we need players. It's a case-by-case basis. Well, hey, I'm not trying to throw the University of Minnesota Morris education under the bus, but if you have more picks, you can get more players. That's all. Monty, come on, Monty, let's go, man. So the Chargers at 5. Now the Chargers are an interesting situation. So, of course, Harbaugh has that force of personality, and he's very firmly going to be involved in personnel decisions. But so Joe Ortiz coming over from the Ravens, he was EDC's one of his lieutenants. So it's actually kind of funny. So Eric Williams, NFC North, NFC AFC. That division writer. Chargers GM Joe Ortiz says it's a collaborative process, but he's the one making picks. So I feel like if you have to say that you're in charge, you're not really in charge. That's all, man. Like, hey, you Tom Colicchio looking wannabe. Come on, man. Pack your knives and go. Bolts believe they will select the first non-quarterback at 5, and Ortiz says he's not interested in a fair trade to move off the pick. Lati frickin' da. And that's what happened, where GMs are either lying or puffing out their chests like, we're not settling for anything less than 5 first-round picks. Well, back here in reality, if a good deal is put in front of you, you're going to take it. That's what it is. He'll lean on his Baltimore roots and take BPA. Baloney. Baloney. And the whole thing about it is like, I honestly do think that Harbaugh is going to have a major say in this. And yeah, they jettison their entire wide receiver room, except they can grab wide receivers later. And I think that they would love fortifying that offensive line in front of Justin Herbert. They got Rashawn Slater. Pipkins wasn't terrible, but also wasn't the greatest in the world. But they could get Talisa Fuaga or J.C. Latham or Graham Barton or JPJ or a combination of all of that. So if the Chargers do trade back with the Vikings and say it is 11-23 and maybe even the future first rounder included in there because that's the cost of moving up, I mean, they can really replenish those trenches. They can get wide receiver later on. They'll be good to go. But Ortiz so this is the full quote from NFL.com. There's certainty it's too good of a deal because of what you're getting back. They have to make it attractive for us to move away from those players. The whole, it's a fair trade. It's a wash. I don't think that's a trade that we're interested in, Ortiz said via team transcripts. If we're going to trade away from great players, there has to be a reason in terms of value for us. Certainly, there are going to be more great players in the draft, but it has to make sense to you, and it has to make sense to the team that is wanting to come up. So, basically, Joe Ortiz is saying, like, hey, we're never going to do a fair trade, so why would any team ever do business with you? But okay, just keep puffing up your chest, and hey, guess what? Once the Vikings get 5 for 11-23 and the future third, not even the future first, because Harbaugh says to do it, okay. Okay. And then lastly, so Joe Shane and the Giants. I mean, this is a man who's on thin ice. But basically, Joe Shane says he'd be surprised that he has been surprised by the number of calls he has received for teams behind them interested in trading for the number 6 overall pick. So obviously that could be BS. They are chilling at 6, but teams that could move up, the Vikings obviously. The Broncos, the Raiders, maybe some other teams we don't even know about, like maybe the Falcons want to move up. Who knows? But if one of the big 4 quarterbacks gets through the gauntlet of the top 5, I mean, the Giants are the inflection point because the Giants could stick and pick. The Giants could take a wide receiver. They could take an offensive lineman. They could trade out as well. But also, I'm not buying the above line. Giants GM Joe Shine, Daniel Jones, the expectation is for him to be our starter. I still have a lot of confidence in him. And also they said that he's fine with Daniel Jones and Drew Lock and Tommy DeVito as their quarterbacks. Baloney. Absolute baloney. And again, Lion Joe Shane. shameless Joe Shane. It's just, no. So that's why I do think that, well, the Giants are in an interesting spot because say they take a quarterback. So now their quarterback has no receivers and no offensive line. But if they take offensive line, they don't have the quarterback. And if they take a wide receiver, they don't have the offensive line or the quarterback. So, I mean, the Giants are actually in a very crappy situation. But it is what it is. But like I said, hey, the Vikings are in a great spot because, hey, if they move up, it's going to be for the right price. And, well, maybe if their guy, if they're all in on one singular guy and he's available, maybe they'll sell the farm. And I'm fine with that, like, because the cost for trading up is like, whoa, we will give up all those first-round picks, bro. It's like, yeah, the first-round picks could turn out to be a guy of Jefferson, Addison, Darisaw caliber, but also they could be Trey Waynes, Treadwell, and Garrett Bradbury. It is what it is. I mean, these things are gambles. But guess what? If you're betting on ceiling and say Drake May is the guy and he turns out to be the freaking guy, worth it. That's it. Or the Vikings could stick and pick and take Penix or Nix or whoever. So either way, Kwesi and Kevin O'Connell are certainly going to be good to go. But again, it's funny because it is full-on lion season from all the other GMs. And hey, if the Vikings do get up to the into the top 6, it will be on their terms, whether it's before the draft or during the draft. Either way, we're good. We're good, man. But your thoughts are thoughts. Other GMs, lion. Kwesi's playing chess while the other GMs are sniffing glue. That's it. Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. You guys know what to do. Skull production value.